Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial. On today's tutorial, I will be teaching you guys introduction to Premiere Pro and its interface. Trust me, you will enjoy today's ride. So sit and relax, put on your seatbelts, and let's drive. The first thing you do after having installed your software Premiere Pro, the first thing you do is to go to your desktop and launch your Premiere Pro. After launching your Premiere Pro, the first thing that displays on your screen is just a blank screen and those icons above it. What Premiere Pro expects of you right now is to create a new project. And how do you do that? You can either press Ctrl Alt New, that is Ctrl Alt N, or Command Alt N, or you can simply go to your file section here, go to New, and create a new project. Now you are expected to name your project. So let me call my project Tutorial. Then you can set up your location. You browse where you want to save your file. That's where you browse. So let me leave my project in my video. I double click and I select this folder as where I want my Premiere Pro file to save. So initially when you launch your Premiere Pro, it's set at the default, and that is Premiere Pro will process your playback using your software engine. But when you have your graphic system, you can then select your graphic system to make your engine process faster. Then in my own system, I have select my graphic system GPU acceleration CUDA. Majorly, when you first launch your Premiere Pro and when creating a new project, the first thing you have to do is to set up your name. Second thing you have to select is your location of your project. And third thing that is most important, to select your rendering as a start. You have to send your rendering. Now, if you have a system that has a graphics card, then you can simply select your graphics card like I have done here. Simply, why are you selecting graphics card? So as to make your work or your playback play faster. But when you use your Mercury playback engine software, it might be a little bit lagging or it might be somehow slow. So that is why we often make use of our GPU in processing our playback. Now, once you have done that, you can ignite the rest and press OK. Congratulations, you have taken your first step into the journey in Premiere Pro. Now, welcome to the Premiere Pro interface. So guys, the first thing I'll be introducing you guys to on this interface is what I call the panel section. The panel section. In Premiere Pro, there are various panels that has been set up for you to help you in your editing process. It makes it easier for you to access some things in your editing process. Take for instance, as a beginner, we have a learning panel section here, whereas you can access some basic knowledge on how to go about or on how to start your editing. You can go through them here and click on them one after the other on your leisure time. Now, the second panel here, we have the assembly section. If you do notice, you will see that the project panel section dominates more compared to the monitor screen and the timeline itself. One of the advantages of assembly section while editing is that you can easily import your file and easily arrange them in your section. How do you import your file? You can simply double click on this assembly section here to look for your file, and you can then click on the file you want to import, and automatically it opens and you find it here, and that is how you import your file. 2, we have the editing panel. On this editing panel, the 3 panels are showing: the third panel, the monitor, and the jet panel with the timeline. Why? So that you can easily gain access to everything you need to edit your video. Now, we have the color section. Basically, this is majorly for those who want to color grade. And under this section, you can realize that you have easy access to your colors material. Take for instance this section here, where you have your Lumetri color. You can apply any of your effects on your Lumetri in your video while editing. I understand that some of us might not really try to understand what Lumetri is. Lumetri is an asset where you have different set of colors to work with while color grading your video. So we have the Lumetri panel here, we have the monitor here, we have the timeline, we have the import media. You can see how small that section is, because at this point this section is not much needed compared to how much you need colors here and compared to how much you need your timeline, which is below. So we have the effects section. Now basically what dominates this place is the effects. When you want to add effects to your video, you can simply just select this panel and continue editing. You can see at the right side, you can see your effects section here. You have easy access to effects. It is easily seen and it is easily accessible. Under it, we have effects, essential graphics, essential sound, Lumetri, libraries, marker, history, and info. Your effects, you apply your effect to it. Your essential graphics, you simply add some motion graphics. We have the essential sound where you edit your sound, your ambience, your music effects, and so on. Then we have the Lumetri color as well, where you can easily do your color grading. We have the library, you can easily connect to the internet and access some materials. And we have the marker, you can select some portion of the area and make them unique with colors. We have the history, it basically shows what you have done, some processes you have done while editing your videos. And we have the last one, the info. So basically the info shows the details of your clip that you import inside Premiere Pro. Then we have the audio section here. If you want to apply your audio effects, you simply just click on audio section and realize that what dominates is what? Essential sound. That is where you can easily access your audio effects. Then we have the graphics. Under the graphics dominate. In graphics here, we have in Premiere Pro where you can easily drag and drop in your projects. Then we have the last one, which is the library, as I've said before, to access some materials online. The names above implies what dominates that exact panel, and it is often good to use them based on what you want to do with them. We have been able to cover the panel section here. Now, one thing about Premiere Pro is that Premiere Pro has distributed so many effects in different sections of your software, which you can easily access more than one ways. It's like creating different routes to actually get to your particular destination while driving. So someone can come from a particular area, another person can come from another area and still meet at a particular point. So that's the way Premiere Pro has actually designed the software. So they have designed in such a way that you can easily access a single material with different methods. Now I am here under editing. Number one, I said there are 4 interfaces in this Premiere Pro here. We have the project panel, which is this section here. We have the timeline, which is this section here. We have the monitor, which is this section here. And we have the effect panel, which is this section here. Project panel. In this project panel, this is where we import our clips inside Premiere Pro. For you to import your clip inside Premiere Pro, you can either double click to import it, or you simply go to where your file is, drag and drop it inside Premiere Pro. Let me double click. Or you can just press Ctrl I. Once you press Ctrl I, it automatically open up this section for you and you can access your video. Remember initially I told us that there are more than one way to access a particular thing in Premiere Pro. Section here is what we have under the effect panel. There are so many things you can access. You can access your source clip. Once you double click on this section, on this clip here, it will have effect panel. Double click source clip. Under the source clip, then you can play it through the footage. Once you have seen the footage, once you have gotten click on the pause button, press I to select the section you want to import. Move to the ending frame at which you want to import. Press O to select the end, and It's either you come here inside your, once you drag the clip inside your timeline, your Premiere Pro automatically creates a new sequence for you, or you can create your sequence yourself before dragging it. So let me drag my own here and drop. You can see a sequence has been created for me automatically named DSC 0676. Oh, we have the project monitor. The project monitor automatically shows what you import in your timeline, which is this one here. As many projects as possible inside this timeline. Sequence. When you import your video clip from project panel to your timeline, it automatically creates a sequence for you, which also appear in your project. Now, how do you identify your project panel from your sequence? Now, if you check below, my clip has the symbols showing sound and clip, sound and clip, sound and clip. But my timeline is different. My timeline has a clip that is cut across with the playback button. A clip cut across by a playback button. You can see it here. It looks different from the rest of my sequence. That is how to identify your sequence from your clip. Just go to your search button and search for sequence, and automatically bring the only sequence you have here. You can see that that's the sequence I have. The moment I delete my sequence, everything in my clip will as well delete. Talking about. You can see that we no longer have a timeline, and we no longer have anything on our project monitor. Let me press Ctrl Z to undo my action so that it can return. You can see my sequence has returned back. Once I double click on my sequence, it automatically show on my timeline. Can you see? Now, on the project panel, we have the media browser. That is where you access your computer. We have the library, where you access materials online. As I've told us, we have the info, where you check details of your clip. You can see, when I click on this clip here, the info, my detail of my clip change in my info. We can see that my video is shot at 50 frames per second at 1920 by 1080. And the audio is 480 HZ acts. Then it is 16-bit and stereo. My tape starts from 1911 and it's end at 5008 of my timeline here. Duration 30 seconds, 48 frame. That is the detail of my info. So basically, your info just shows the detail of your clip, as I've said earlier. And we can then move to effect panel. So under the effect panel, we have the source clip. The source clip basically is where you play back your video clip before importing it in your timeline. You can easily do your cutting on your source clip so that what you import on your timeline will be accurate, so that you won't do much of cutting again in your timeline. So that's why I could select a clip and select the ending, then import it. Now you can either import only video or audio, depending on which one you select. If you have to import both the audio and the video, that's when you go to your effect panel here. You go to so as to import the two. But if you have to import just one of it, then you can just simply click on the video. This is a symbol for video and this symbol for what? Audio. You can click on the video. The hand panel will show. Once you double click on it, it grabs the video. Then you can drag it and drop it. And if it's that you only want to work on the sound alone, you can click on the sound. Once you click on it, it drags the sound, and you can drag it to your audio section. In your timeline, we have the video section, which is above, and we have the audio section, and if you notice something, we have the V1, V2, V3. Those are the video tracks, and we have the A1, A2, A3, which are the audio tracks like that. And we have the sequence section. This shows the words. This activates your video in your sequence section, and this activates your audio in your sequence section. When these things are on, you will no longer be able to import either of these two that was unchecked. Take for instance, once I uncheck my A1 and I try to drag in my video to my timeline, you realize that my audio won't come along with it. It's only my video that will appear. Once I uncheck my video as well and I checked my audio and I try to drag in this clip, you realize my video won't come along, but it's only audio that will show because I have unchecked one. So that is what that is for. Now, under this and also, we have these tools here that is beside it. Tools are basically what we access to make our cutting easier and faster. Like this now, my tools is at selection such that I could click on my clips and move it. And we have the words track selection forward tools also. We have the track selection forward tool. So track selection to move all your clips at once, Control A, and then dragging it with what V. So it helps you to easily move all your clips at once. And remember, as I've told us before, all these things can be accessed with a shortcut case. Take for instance, you want to answer tools alone. I press the key V, and if I want to access my track selection tool, I simply press A, and it is automatically activated. From the point I selected, the whole of the track around that side becomes activated like that. Access. If I want to move my clips to the right, you press A. If I want to move my clips to the left, you press Shift A. Then you can push your clips from the left to the other side. A. One of the ways to know that if a tool has more than one tool, you will see this small icon here that is indicating a shaded part below. Once you press down your left key, it automatically shows. Then you can access those other things inside it here, which is okay. Now we have the slip tool. Slip tool is basically for adjusting your clips without actually affecting the duration of your clips. So you just adjust your clips from different timing of your clips like that, without not affecting the total duration of it. So that's what slip tool is used for. We have the pen tool. Pen tool is basically to edit the opacity of your video. So how to access pen tool? Once you click on it, you scale in your video through this section here to scale it. Then you'll be able to see, you can see it here. Then you can click on it to edit the opacity and as much as you want it to your video clip. It's also used to edit your audio clip as well. You scale your audio clip as well, so I can see this sound. Then you can adjust the level of your sound, whether you want to increase it or decrease it, depending on it. So I want to reach the point at which my sound is scaled to increase. You can see the way why my video reduced in opacity while editing it. So we have the hand tool as well. Hand tool normally used, especially if you are working on a very large clip like that, that's very much, and your eyes could not easily see all those clips entirely. You can just click on your hand tools by pressing H, and you can drag it to where all your clips are, and you can easily access them. Then we have the test tool section. The test is simply to add text to your video, so you can write anything you want to write and save your text, and you have your text here. And if you're not satisfied with this specific design, you can just come to your effect control. Under your effect control, you will see those effects you add to your text showing here under effect control. Then you can readjust it. Now I can make it bold. I can change the type of design if I feel like, by clicking on this side here and change it to a particular design I would prefer. Once I find the size, I can change the size here. So basically, you can just tweak around the settings under effect to adjust the setting of your text. So the same thing is applicable to your video clip as well. Video clip automatically has this effect showing the panel here. Then you can do your adjustments on your effect panel on how you want it to appear. Is it that you want your video to move across the screen, thereby editing the position of your clip, or animating it? So there are bells here, there are timing showing beside this effect, and this timing are basically to animate your videos as you want it. Probably you want your videos to rotate. You can just click on this or return it back to what it was. So basically, you can go through this thing when you're less busy to explore more about this. Now we have the audio clip also. Here you can select your audio clip and you can edit your audio clips. You can see under my audio clip, I have my audio mixer. Whereas audio, if you see we have A1, A2, A3, whatsoever is my A1, on my A1 is automatically affected by that effect. So, and we have the metadata base also, like the way we have info in our project panel. So we have a database where you could actually access some infos about your clips and so on. So I have been able to explain the timeline, the project panel, the effects panel. Now let me go to under effects so I can explain few things on our effects panel section here. So Premiere Pro comes with some default effects like your Lumetri, your audio effect, your transition, and so on and so forth like that. Basically, effects is easily accessible. Effects simply drag and drop. You simply drag and drop your effects on your video and it opens and it appears like that. You drag and drop it. So it is when applying your effects on your video clips, it is advised, you are advised to not to apply it directly on your video clip, but instead apply it on what we call adjustment layer. So how do you go to adjustment layer? You simply come down to your project panel here, your adjustment layer. Basically, just leave it setting the way it is, because that's will actually give you the exact size of your clip. Then you press and drag it inside your timeline, and you can stretch or shrink it the way you want to the exact spot at which you want the effect to take place. And effects, you can add that effect to where you want it to happen. Like me, I want my effect to happen between these two clips here. So let me drag my effect here within these two clips here, and let me pick a particular effect in my video and apply to it. So let me drop this on my footage. Now you can see at that section. Now let me actually show the effects. It works. That's the way it works. So you can just explore any of these effects here under your video clips. And if you want to apply effects on your audio, you can just simply go to your audio and just click and drop effects in your audio directly. It does not really matter. Like that, it does not really matter compared to video. And once you click on it, you will see the effect automatically show in your effect control as my amplifier, you can see. And this is where you tweak around with the settings to satisfy your taste or your wants. Or this also, you can click on it, you will see it appear also, the effect appear on it here. You can see my camera blur. You can do the settings here. If you want the blur to be 90 or you want the blur to reduce, you can just do the setting here depending on what you want. So you can tweak around with the setting. Once you're setting, you can save it and move on like that. And that is that on effect panel. So we have the transition. Transition is simply also you drag and drop, but for transition we don't need adjustment layer for that. You can this my adjustment layer here, and simply just select a particular transition you want. You drag the transition and you drop it on at the ending. So transition basically activates at the joining of a clip. When there is no cut in a clip, your transition will not take place. But once there's a cut, you can now put transition probably at the ending, or you want to put it between two videos. So like the way I did here, I'm putting my transition between the two videos, and it's set at additive dissolve. You can see clip while joining the two together. So that's my additive effect. So you can select as much transition you want and apply it on your video. And we have the Lumetri presets. So this is where you have your color under it. So you can just apply, these are effects you can easily drag and drop under your effect panel here. So we have the share graphics. Now it looks as if there is nothing showing on your screen, but there's something showing. You just have to drag down your panel so I can see those effects here. You can see it here. Basically the same way you drag and drop this particular graphics you want, then you can edit it. You can see I've dragged and dropped this graph on my screen, and let's see what it's showing. You can see it's showing the text that is being set as default. Let me scale it up so I can see it very well. Adding your own words to it. So I wrote good caption. Then you can play your clip. You can see it's already animated It's been animated. You can edit your graphics under the editing panel in your graphics here. You can see those test size, the alignment, whether you want to be centralized, and they set the size, the boldness, the color, the shadow, and so on and so forth. You can simply edit it under this graphics panel here. Once you are done, you save your work and you move on. So we have the essential sound. Essential sound is simply where you edit your sound. Click on your sound, then it automatically get activated, so you can edit your dialogue, your music, your SFS, your ambient sound. Once you click on it, it automatically appear that allow the sound to be applied on your video. So you can select a particular sound you want to. You probably want a feel of a large room. You click on it, automatically appear video clip. You can see that my video clip has reduced in size and the color of my FS has changed to green. Initially it was yellow, it has changed to green now. So, and once I play it now, the sound different than. And explore all this stuff more later in your leisure time. You have the Lumetri color. So the Lumetri color, you simply apply your color to your footage. As I've told you before, it's always advisable to apply your effects on your adjustment layer. Do not after your video. Why? So that while editing your clip, you can easily recorrect it. But once you apply it on your video clips, you might have to start doing some long editing and cutting before you can correct it. So I apply my Lumetri color on my adjustment layer, basic color. I can go to creative and apply a particular color I want, and automatically it changes the color of my video. And if I'm not satisfied with the look, I can just go to my basic correction and do some tweak with the words, with the exposure, the contrast, the highlight, the shadow, the B. Once I'm satisfied with what I want, with the look, I'm going to saturation or reduce it depending on what I want. Once I'm satisfied, then I can just press OK. So basically, once you have applied your creative, you might not need to apply your curve again, or you can just choose to apply a curve and ignore your creative, depending on what you want anyway. So you can just go through those settings here. Curves, your curves, like your curves contain your shadow, your highlights, and other things. So you can set your color here in your curves. I will not be tampering with that. Then you can set up your HL secondary also. Here it helps you to pick a particular section of your video instead of setting everything at once. Then you can also color grade with this as well. So basically you can just explore more of this Lumetri color. And the last one we have in this Lumetri color is your vignette. Vignette just adds some focus to your video. If you want people to focus at the center of your video, you can just bring down your amounts here, bring down your mid section, increase the feather so that it's not be too harsh. Then your roundness, the way you want it to be, you can just do it like that, just to add some cinematic feel to your video. And that is that on Lumetri color. So we have the library, and after the library, you access it online. We have the marker to select some portion of your video. You can just use your marker to what's called named the section of your video. You can use your marker. Then we have the history. I've told you the history shows some of the things you have done while editing your videos. Then the last thing is info. It shows the details of your clip. You can see it here, showing the detail of my clip. So guys, and now I'll be ending today's tutorial on this panel above here. So we have the file section. File section just simply contains everything related to your file. That is your Premiere Pro file, your export file, and the rest. We have the edit section. And when you click on the particular video and you left click, you will see most of the things you are seeing in your edit panel in that same section here in your edit panel. In your file panel, when you click on this section here, you are seeing this new here, you'll see it here in your project panel. We have the clip. You have the clips. So everything about your clips, you can see it here. We have the sequence, everything about your sequence, your sequence setting, you can also see it here. Yeah, I've explained what sequence is already. The marker, if you want to select a particular section of it, let me just use the marker for you so I can understand better. Yeah, to access your marker, just simply press M up here, or you can just click on marker, majorly to indicate some particular area of your clip, so as to remind yourself about some things that you have done in that particular section of your clips. So we have the marker section here. You can see it. You can easily access some features of the marker in this place here. And you can see those shortcut keys written beside it. We have the graphics. I've explained what graphics is already. You can see access some of your and you can also install some new graphics for this section here. Then we have the Windows panel. All these things you are seeing showing on your interface have all been highlighted in your Windows. If they are all deactivated, you will no longer see them on your interface again. So whatsoever you checked on your window panel, that's what appears in your screen. For instance, let me check my caption now. You will see that it will appear on my screen. That is my interface. So I don't want this to appear. Let me just back it. I don't want it. So you can see that it's no longer there again. That is what everything I've seen that has been checked here. That's what has appeared on my interface. And the last thing under this, a case at which you work on a project and you realize that you have somehow scattered the settings of your Premiere Pro and you don't know what to do again, what do you simply do? Just go to Window and go to Workspace and go to Reset to Save Layers. Reset to Save Layers simply resets it back to the default setting of Premiere Pro so that you will not be stuck while editing. And up, if you get confused about some things about Premiere Pro, you can just go to up and click on it, then you automatically launch you to the online website and get to understand some knowledge about that software. Now we have reached the ending of today's tutorial. Hope you did enjoy yourself and hope the ride was not bumpy. If you enjoy my tutorial, do smash the like button and ensure you subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share as well so others can as well learn from this. And I remain your driver and your coach, Shofolaon John. Don't forget to stay inclined, explore, ask questions, and be ready to execute. See you in my next tutorial.